Hey gals, welcome to Binge Free Bestie, the podcast where we ditch the diets, break free from binge eating, and build a safe and empowered relationship with our bodies. I'm your host, Nick Carberia, a registered therapist who totally gets it. Binge eating and body image struggles? Yep, I've been there, done that, and I've got the therapy bills to prove it. But here's the good news, bestie. I've recovered and I'm here to help you to do the same. This potty is all about real, evidence-based strategies from my therapy practice, plus down-to-earth, relatable girl talk with me and some of my amazing besties and other experts who have their own stories, tips, and tricks to share with you. So, whether you're tired of the diet cycle, ready to ditch the shame spiral, or just want to feel more confident in your own skin, then you've come to the right place. It's time to get real about food freedom, body acceptance, self-care, and building a life you truly love. Let's get into it, besties. Hey bestie, welcome back to the Binge Free Bestie podcast. I am Nick, I'm your food freedom hype gal. I'm a registered therapist and also somebody who used to have a whole part-time job checking her body in the mirror every time I walked past. So this episode is called Mirror Anxiety, Scale Obsession, and Photo Checking. So if you've ever zoomed in on a photo or you kind of casually lift your shirt just to check things out and make sure how it's looking, or you find that your entire mood is wrecked by what the scale says, then this episode is for you, because we're going to be talking about something called body checking. So body checking can be, things like looking in the mirror, weighing yourself, giving the side eye in the shop windows, zooming on those photos, pinching, pulling, all of it. And I just want you to know that this little habit of body checking, it's okay to do it a little bit here and there. It's actually a sign of self-care. We're making sure that, we're tidy and we're put together before we go out the door. We haven't got food in our teeth. But when this behavior becomes a bit more excessive, it's unhelpful. It fuels body dissatisfaction, and we know that dissatisfaction in our body can fuel our binge eating because it does things like it makes us restrict or go on diets. So these tiny little habits of checking, they're way more powerful and way more sneaky than sometimes we might think. So that's what we're chatting about today. But before we jump into the episode, I want to let you know about something important, and it is time sensitive. So I'm actually going to be running a free masterclass on Thursday, December 18th at 6 p.m. New Zealand time, okay? And this is for you if you struggle with food through that holiday, New Year period. I'm especially putting this together because I know this is a really stressy time of year, right? And in particular, I'm sure you've noticed there's so much talk on socials and the news right now. You've got things like injectables are really accessible. Everyone's starting to talk about their summer diets. Everyone's talking about Christmas foods. They might be your binge foods. And people are talking about bodies a lot more and people's weight and shape. I don't know if you've seen all the stuff about that cast from Wicked and people looking at their bodies and talking about them. And it really does seem to be a big wave of inspiration coming back in. So you might be feeling pressure. You might be comparing your body to other people. And of course, you might be feeling stressed out about all this food that's going to be in your face over the holiday period. So what I'm going to do is I've put together this masterclass, and we're going to be talking about why the holiday period can trigger overeating and a bit of that kind of last chance eating, or the New Year's coming, so I'm going to be really naughty throughout Christmas. I'm going to go absolutely ham on the trifle, and then New Year's Day, it's new year, new me, new diet. So we're going to talk about that, why it's unhelpful. We're going to talk about what to do if you do overeat, and so you don't go into that guilt and shame spiral. We're also going to talk about things like how to handle people who might push food on you or comment on what's on your plate, or maybe they comment on your outfits or what you're eating, or it's too much or it's too little, or should you have that, or going back for seconds, all of that kind of stuff. And of course, we're going to talk about diet culture pressure. Again, you'll be thinking about, what do I want 2026 to look like? What are my goals? those will include health and well-being goals. And so we want to have a bit of a chat around the pressure for what those goals should be and some really nice ways to stay calm and regulated and in control. So if December feels a bit chaotic for you, pressured for you, then I want you to be there. It'll be live. So you get to come on. I'll be chatting with you guys directly. The really cool thing I love about doing these masterclasses is I will be presenting strategies. So it'll be psychoeducation based, really similar to these podcasts. And of course I have my cute little slides and all of those kind of things. But I will be engaging with you guys. I will be talking to you directly. Anyone who's there, you can ask questions. I will be, really trying to make this feel like a vibrant, engaged, masterclass. It's not just going to be, hopefully, dry and boring. So the link to register is going to be in the show notes. And if, New Zealand timing doesn't work for you, or probably you've already started your Christmas events, that is okay. If you register, I'm going to send you a replay. So register whether you can make it live or not so that you can watch it in your own time. Save your spot. It's free and it is going to help you to navigate this kind of December period. So it's on the 18th, remember, 6 p.m. So let's get into this episode. Again, remember, we're talking about body checking. So the first thing that I want to talk about is, what is body checking and why sometimes we don't even realize that we're doing it. So body checking sounds like this big clinical term, right? But in reality, everyone does it. Everyone does it. And as I said before, it is okay to do it to a certain extent. It is helpful and it can be a part of your self-care. Again, like I said, you don't want to walk out with something in between your teeth. You need to check. But the important part, as I said, self-care, good. Looking after yourself, great. The problem isn't the checking. It's when that behavior becomes excessive or compulsive, or it's driven by fear or anxiety. And of course, if it's driven by body dissatisfaction or negative body image, whatever label you want to use there. So that's when it stops being helpful. And that's when the behavior actually reinforces and feeds into the insecurities that you feel like you're trying to serve by checking. So when body checking is just like constantly monitoring yourself, I want you to start working on it. It is okay to do that kind of functional, harmless checking. But we don't want to get you stuck in this shame spiral. So what kind of behaviors might you recognize in yourself? I'm going to read a list and just make a little mental tick when you hear something that you know that you do. So body checking could look like stuff like looking at your reflection every time you pass something shiny or reflective. Could be like a mirror, shop window, can even be things like the stainless steel fridge. It could look like lifting up your shirt, grabbing your tummy, checking your thighs by measuring them with the width of your hand. Could be zooming in on every angle of photos. Could be frequent weighing of yourself on the scales or with a tape measure. It could be comparing yourself to other people in the room or online. It could be asking for reassurance from others, like, do I look okay? How am I in these jeans? So that reassurance seeking. And the really wild part is that most body checking isn't conscious. So it's just this body brain loop or this habit loop that sounds like, maybe I'll feel better if I just check, I'm just gonna have a quick look. But the thing is, you never do feel better, do you? Body checking is a search for reassurance that your body is okay. But ironically, it's the thing that just continues to fuel the anxiety that you are trying to soothe. So you're just trying to put out fire with petrol, really. That's what I'm trying to say here. So that's what body checking is. And I'm sure that some of that has resonated, right? Next, let's talk about why body checking makes you feel like crap. Why it makes you feel like your body is the enemy. So breaking it down. I'm going to break it down to you in a few points. The first point, the reason why it makes your body feel like the enemy is because every time you check, it's just strengthening the belief that your body needs to be monitored. So your brain is learning, if I'm always checking it, something must be wrong with it, even if nothing is wrong with it. So every time you're body checking, you're creating and reinforcing that neural pathway that appearance is something to feel anxious over. And every time you check, as I said, you are reinforcing that, making it stronger. The second reason why body checking can make your body feel like the enemy is it's increasing that body dissatisfaction. So you are training your brain to look for flaws. It becomes really hyper-focused on the tiniest things, real or imagined, and you will find that what you scrutinize in yourself magnifies. Okay, the more you look, the more you see, the bigger it gets. Third reason is creating nervous system dysregulation, and we know that is a trigger to binge eating. So when your body is in a constant kind of level of, is my body safe or not? Am I worthy or not? Am I safe or not? Your nervous system feels that threat. And food, well, it can become a way to cope with that, right? Same with body checking. It becomes a way to cope with that dysregulation. It becomes a way to regain control. Reason 4, as I've been saying throughout this episode so far, it is fueling that binge restrict cycle. So what usually happens is, so you check on your body, so you go look in the mirror and you don't like what you see, and then your brain immediately leaps into this kind of damage control mode, and you have thoughts like, okay, I look terrible, I need to go on a diet, I should restrict. Okay, I need to be good today, or I can't trust myself, or I really shouldn't have eaten that. And we know where that's going to land. It goes restriction, deprivation, binge city, right? And if you've been listening to this for a while, you know that physical restriction through things like dieting and mental restriction by like putting that moralization of food and claiming it to be good or bad, naughty, nice, clean, junk. Those are the things that trigger binges, trigger that feeling of being out of control. So yes, body checking is increasing that dissatisfaction. It's also increasing that urge to fix your body through control, through restriction. And when you restrict, your body will push back. So it's not just that body checking is creating anxiety or making you feel unhappy with the way you look. It is actively fueling that binge restrict cycle. Okay? Final reason I want to tell you of why body checking makes your body feel like the enemy is just keeps you stuck in that comparison and self-surveillance mode. So your body, when you're doing this, just becomes something you're constantly watching and monitoring. It's not something that you're living in or being really present. So many of the women that I support, and I had this experience as well, they say, I feel so disconnected from my body, or food feels so chaotic, or my body is my enemy. I hate it. I've been in a tug of war all my life. But it's not your body that is the problem. It is the habits, such as body checking, that is fueling this disconnect, that is fueling this feeling of being chaotic and needing control. Okay? So, all of that being said, I hope now you understand like what body checking is and why it's unhelpful and why it can fuel binge eating. Let's talk about how we can start to break that habit. So I'm not going to tell you just stop checking, because if it was that easy, you would stop it now, right? Because you know that it can be harmful to your mental health. But as I said earlier, like you don't need a big detox or to go cold turkey on this behavior, because that degree of body checking, a little degree of it, is normal and helpful. fixing your hair, adjusting your outfit, checking if there's lipstick on your teeth or you've smudged it on your face. So the body checking is not always the problem. I just want you to look at the root of it. I also don't want you to swing to the other extreme, which is where you totally start avoiding mirrors and body checking altogether, because there's something called body avoidance. And that's the flip side of the same coin. It's also unhelpful. So what we're going to aim for is a nice, gentle, sustainable reset. So we're not eliminating it. We just want to make sure it's not excessive, not anxiety driven, and that it's not fueling that dissatisfaction and that binge restrict cycle. So a sweet little middle ground. So tools, number one, have some awareness. So I don't want you to try to stop body checking altogether. I just want you to notice when you're doing it. And you can just pick one body checking behavior that you know you do a bit more. So just say the mirror is always an easy example, or weighing. And I just want you to pay attention to how often you do it. So you can do this by making a little note in a journal or in your phone or something. And you're asking yourself, okay, do I check every time I pass a mirror? How many times a day am I actually doing this? And what is my trigger? So is it I'm bored, I'm anxious, it's just the routine, like every time I go by it, the mirror, or every time I see the scale, I jump on it, or every time I go to the toilet, I weigh. I just want you to get a number, like an actual figure, something measurable. It's all right if it's rough, just to see how much this is happening for you. And if you have a copy of my workbook, Embrace Your Body, and I'll put the link in the show notes, there is a body checking tracker in there that you can use. The awareness is the first step, because you can see if the behavior is excessive, because we know excessive equals unhelpful. Okay, the next step is you're just going to try to reduce that frequency, not eliminate it totally. So once you have a number, let's say you figure out, gosh, I'm looking in the mirror 20 times a day. The next step, we're going to reduce it. It doesn't need to be to 0, because again, we don't want to go to mirror avoidance. We just want to do it less. So if you're doing it 20, let's get it down. Say next week, it'll be down to 15. And then the week after, 15 to 10. And the following, 10 to 5. So being really systematic, doing it at your own speed, be realistic, be safe about it, and just make yourself a bit of a stepped plan. So it could be a 4-week plan or a 5-week plan, you decide, and just slowly start to retrain that habit loop. That way as well, it's not going to overwhelm your nervous system. It's not a shock tactic. There's also no rigid rules there. We're just being gentle, and we've got a bit of a planned reduction. So set a goal, write it down, and be really intentional. Okay? Next part is you're going to start naming that urge that you have to check. So if you have a little pull to go and look in the mirror, all you need to do is pause and just label it as that. Say, oh gosh, that's my anxiety looking for some reassurance. Don't say stuff like, oh my God, there I go again, or I'm failing. Just name the urge and be like, oh, I'm having the urge to go look in the mirror right now. Interesting. Just be curious, lots of self-compassion. And when you name the urge, it's just creating a bit of space between you and the urge, or the urge to partake in the behavior. And it's going to remind you that it's a habit. It's not you. It's not your identity. Okay. And the final kind of tip is just, if we're talking about mirrors, let the mirror be functional. It is not a diagnostic tool. We can use them for brushing our teeth, doing our hair, checking if your shirt is on inside out, right? It does not need to be a tool that you use to assess your body. If you feel like your mirror checking is excessive and it's causing you harm, or you feel terrible every time you look in the mirror, then try to change the use of that to be just a functional tool, rather than as a way to assess yourself. Does that sound good? Does that sound doable? Gentle reminder guys, your body your body is not an object to inspect, okay? It is a home that you live in. And you're not supposed to feel neutral or calm or confident because of how your body looks. You're supposed to feel safe and grounded because of how you treat yourself. Okay? So if this episode is hitting home for you, please know, I mentioned it just before, I've got a workbook called Embrace Your Body. It's 200 pages. And in that, I go really deeply into the 4 factors that maintain body dissatisfaction. And one of those is body checking. There's 3 other behaviors. In that, I give you a whole smorgasbord full of tools that you can use to shift those behaviors. I will pop the link in the show notes. And also, module 5 of the breakup is entirely about body image. So we are working on in depth on the mental restriction and body image thoughts that power behaviors like body checking and of course fuel that binge eating cycle. But it's all connected. It's also all really healable. You can absolutely work through this stuff. You can. So to wrap up, if it resonated this episode today, please share it with someone who you think would find it helpful. Please hit follow, leave me a review, pop some little stars on my page, because my goal right now is to grow the podcast. So I'm showing up here every week for you guys, putting my all into this food freedom empire for us, but I need your help to get the word out. So please share it or review it or whatever you need to do. I will be so grateful. And one more reminder about that masterclass. 18th of December, 6 p.m. New Zealand time. Be there or be square. If you can't be there, register anyway and I will send you the replay. Cool. So that is me for today. The links will all be in your show notes and I will catch you again next week for your weekly episode. Take care and ciao for now.